sun's out, fun's out. That's right, it's Sunbelt night, and the sunniest person I know, the captain of the ship, Mike Holland, joins me right now to break down this competitive conference into tiers of bright, brighter, and brightest, as only the Sunbelt can be done. Recording live from somewhere, this is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that One and Done train. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball información. We're powered by the galaxy's greatest website. That'd be drroto.com. I am your sometimes humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich. If you don't know, now you know. I'm the conductor of this thing, the aforementioned One and Done train. That's right, Snake's Eyes. It is time indeed. Follow me on X at Dr. William Cannon. Follow us at the show page, scrolling across the bottom of your viewing device right there at One and Done CBB on all the socials. But do yourself a favor, follow this man first. Around here, he's known as El Capitan himself, the captain of the One and Done ship. He does the ship, I do the train. At MC Holland 34 over there in those Twitter streets, the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do? It's Sunbelt night.
Man, the energy coming off, it's just permeating throughout the screen right now. It's crazy, man. But glad to hear that sweet voice back, and now I can go to even more of a monotone that I like to grace the crowd with here. But yeah, man, like this is I mean, we got the MVC coming up, but outside of this one, man, like we're gonna dive into multi-bid type leagues, and I mean, honestly, the MVC probably should be at least a 2-bid league, at least the way they've been playing. But this is Sunbelt, man, and there's a lot going on in this conference. So if you guys haven't checked out all the shows, guys and gals, please go back. I think this is show number 22 that we've done. So hey, we're keeping the wheels turning here, man, and I'm excited to kind of chat about what's going on in this particular conference.
Always a fun conference, a very competitive conference, especially at the top. Sort of, it felt pretty top-heavy last year, and we'll talk about that more in a second. But yeah, this is always a fun one to talk about. This is one that comes down here through our neck of the woods a little bit, through San Marcos, so we get to see these teams come through town every so often. Which is always fun to do. And we did a little bit of that last year. Saw some of these guys, and we'll talk about the Bobcats coming up in a minute, as well as some of the other teams, of course, that came through town last year for the Bobcats in the conference, as our producer, Nape, the Hall of Famer himself, at Nape C. Hustle, so astutely pointed out in the pre-show meeting. This was a conference, Mike, that was very competitive amongst each other, but in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't exactly viewed upon as one of the stronger conferences in the country. 21st in KenPom strength of conference. And we were talking about this, Mike. Here's that four-way tie at the top that you only in the Sun Belt, right? Like only in the Sun Belt. Arkansas State, Troy, South Alabama, and James Madison all finishing at 13-5. Out of those four, Troy ended up coming out on top in the conference tournament, beating Arkansas State, who I wish we would have gotten to see play in the tournament, but that's another story for another day. And then Troy got that matchup with Kentucky, and yeah, I guess hung tough in the first half, right? But that was basically a 20-point game by the time it was all said and done. I said Kentucky, I said Big Blue Nation, so we might get an influx. That's how that works around here on One and Done. You know how that works. We mentioned those guys, and they just show up. So anyways, Mike, what are your thoughts on the Sun Belt? I'm going to step up and get a drink real fast. You tell us your thoughts on the Sun Belt. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and we remiss if we didn't hit the chat, man. Snake's Eyes dove in early. We got Mason jumping in here. And kind of one of the things I was going to talk about, Mason, is they've got one of the best and one of the weirdest conference tournaments. Like if you go look at this one, the WCC, it's just like you need like the expanded landscape version because they do the whole double bye. Like it's out of control when they do this conference tournament. And Darren also jumping in there, man. So appreciate Darren jumping back in the live
Darren,
chat.
where'd you go, man? We missed
man.
you, my friend.
Exactly.
It felt like not like a show without you, my man. Good to see you back in the chat.
Yeah, so appreciate everybody diving into the chat. And look, here's the thing, man. It is competitive. Like I know that rounding this out, we chose to do this one a little bit later because it is so competitive and it's tough and it's a weird conference, right? Year in and year out. half the league is in the top 200 of Kim Pom, so there's some strong teams. You get a lot of Power 5 type transfers. The close game percentage, top 3 in the country and close game percentage. So yeah, this is absolutely a fun belt. And as Cam dives in here saying howdy, man, we saved this one because it's a lot of fun to talk about. And trying to pick a winner out of this one is going to be pretty difficult, I would say.
Yeah, but we're going to do it. I'll put you on the spot later, so make sure you're ready, Mike. All right, good stuff. We're caught up on the chat. Good stuff there, everybody. Good to see you there. Cam, Darren, Snake's Eyes, Mason, the gang's all here. Why don't you join them in there and join over 1,560 something of your closest college basketball
67.
fans.
Somebody hit the button
67.
yesterday.
Somebody hit that button. Let's go.
Yeah, why not, dude?
Let's get up to 1570 tonight. Easy for me to say, but
gazillion.
you know what's easier than me saying 1570 is one of you pushing that button that hasn't already. That's really easy. So go ahead and push that button if you haven't. On our way to 11 gazillion fulfillion and one, of course. Yeah, give it up for the reigning MC Holland 34 Invitational champion Cam right there. CT Huggin in the chat. Good stuff. Everybody's back, man. Oh, this is a good night. I'm glad the energy's there. The live chat's there. Mike, we're feeling good. I think we should get to these world famous tiers. Hit those buttons, and we're going to get to the low tier. The foundation here, Mike. You know, this is tough. This obviously a team with our conference with this many teams. When you see 5 teams in the low tier, this kind of speaks to the imbalance again at the top and the bottom here. And yeah, I'll go ahead and kick it off, man. Let's just rip this Band-Aid off and talk about Louisiana Monroe. Listen, whatever kind of, I don't know if Keith Richard has like pictures of somebody or like he's got job security like no other. It feels like 6 straight losing seasons in conference play, but he's entering his 16th year at head coach. I'm joking, of course, coach. It's all fun here. He did have that nice 2-year run about a decade ago, but lately, man, it hasn't been as easy to watch or as easy to to find those wins. It's going to be more of the same this year, unfortunately. Christian Lewis is a player to watch coming in from Pearl River Community College, averaged 15 points and 4 dimes last season for them. It's going to be hard to picture anything more than 3, maybe 4 wins max. Mike, do you remember Ahmed Johnson, the wrestler for WWF back in the day?
Yeah, the Pearl River Plunge.
River Plunge, my man. I know you'd get that reference. All right, good deal. Louisiana Monroe down. Mike, take over on some of this low tier stuff. I don't want all of the the negativity here.
Yeah,
How about Southern Miss?
Yeah, so we had Southern Miss. They went 5-13 last year. Another coach that's searching for answers, Jay Ladner. Only one winning season, and now he enters year 7 with a lot of question marks, and nobody's really returning. The transfer portal hall is full of like JUCO, D2, NAIA guys that need to absolutely step up. You have wing Isaac Tavares. He's considered like a top 10 type JUCO transfer. So should give them a nice boost. And Tyleek Weeks, nice profile as well. So we'll see if these guys can make an impact coming in here to the Sun Belt. It's just really tough to picture them being competitive when we start talking about this mid and high tier. And then you got the Georgia Southern Eagles. Charlie Hender's team basically been competitive in conference play, but expecting a little bit of a step back here in year 3 for Coach Henry, man. They lost a lot of production. They're going to rely on a lot of new faces, especially returning forward to Kavion White. He averaged 10 points, 3.5 boards, 2.5 assists. I do like the addition of UAB transfer Tyron Moore. I think he's going to be a really solid player in this conference. He was a monster in this conference a couple of years ago. So he averaged 17, 3 and 3. So of all the teams, I feel like probably Georgia Southern, but the defensive issues, man, like if they can just be really good offensively, they can bump a tier here, man. But I don't like what they look like defensively here, man.
When you got a guy that sort of comes home like more like that home cooking that gets back, he's a player to watch for Georgia Southern. Like I feel like the low tier could end up being I don't want to say harsh, but if Moore can pick it up, man, like there's a little bit of a ceiling here, and I hope they can get there. How about Coastal Carolina, who Mason, when you think of Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers at this point, there does feel like there's more of the cachet that comes along with that name. Unfortunately, for Coach Justin Gray in his first year on campus, it didn't really go quite as envisioned. I think of all the teams we have down here in the low tier, this might be the one with the best opportunity to jump tiers. Maybe right along there with Georgia Southern, but I'm looking for returning players, not just that were sort of there, but like impact players in these sort of situations. Rashid Jones, did he dipped his toes into the
You love
waters
that.
of Lake Minnetonka and then pulled them back. I mean, he's the guy there. Like, he's the guy. He went out there, put some feelers out. Can I go be a piece somewhere else? If nothing was appealing as coming back and being the centerpiece at Coastal Carolina. So, but they did get the Big Dipper there, the Boston College transfer, Joshua Beadle, looking to make a big impact, a sharpshooter from deep. And then Lemoyne guard, AJ Dantzler, averaged 15 points for them on 40% from beyond the arc, will be able to stretch the floor for them as well. So there's going to be some improvement here, I guess, is my point, right? And to Mason's point too, right? Like that, this will be a team that I do not feel like will only win 3 conference games next year. But even if they double that win total, man, and yeah, you do got to watch out for those tier jumpers, man. But even if the Chanticleers double their win total, man, that's only 6 wins, and that's going to be that's a tough jump. Appalachian State, Mike, the last team down here on the bottom, and speaking of another name that just sort of feels maybe out of place. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but it kind of just feels a little weird.
Yeah, and I mean, why? Because Dustin Kearns, only one time in his 6 years that they've been below 500 in conference play. And even that season was only by a game. But they just lost a lot of talent over the last couple of years. They don't have a Huntley or a Tate this year. I do like Kason Jennings coming in from South Florida. I think he could be a nice addition. Alonzo Dodd's pretty nice point guard. It's just really hard to get excited about this roster, man. Like they're going to need some guys really to take a step forward to kind of avoid this like rare losing season, man. So yeah, it feels weird. We've got some teams like Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, that the coaches, right? Like they're kind of doing some things, right? But we're picking them down here at the bottom. As you said with Coastal Carolina, right? They got a nice backcourt there. So that improvement though, like you got to have a well-rounded. You got to get a couple more guys, especially in that front court, to come along to tier jump, man. But this is one of those conferences, man. And while we do some of these conferences towards the end, even though they're 21 out of 31 in KenPom strength of conference, like there are tier jumpers in these type of leagues like the Sun Belt, because you get a lot of P5 transfers that all of a sudden the Joshua Beadle now averages 16 points per game and he's shooting 42% from 3 is going to change everything for Coastal Carolina.
Right.
Kason Jennings coming in from a South Florida, and we consider obviously American a power type conference, right? So we'll see what happens here, but you just have to kind of like what we're going to talk about here in the mid and the high tier.
Again, so many teams. There were clear by the end of last year in the Sun Belt. There were clear tiers, right? You had the teams that won, 3 games, and then you got a bunch of 8 to 10 win teams,
and then you had the
4 teams won 13 games.
Yeah.
So they were very clear, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be as clear this year. That I think that these tiers, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's this huge gap of the separation between all of these teams necessarily. It could end up that way. It ended up that way last year. But honestly, there's so many teams down here that could make a case. And who wants to go and play some of these? Who wants to play guys with Power 5 experience like Joshua Beadle? He's done it, and he's going to shoot the lights out of the gym for Coastal Carolina. So we'll see how it goes. The low tier: Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern, Southern Miss. So I'm gonna, we're gonna. Brett Favre jokes aside there, and Louisiana Monroe rounding out the low tier, the foundation of the conference. And Darren saying Appalachian State seems to have a steep mountain to climb to get out of the low tier. Okay, good job. Very good.
Wow, that's nice.
The guy, listen, he missed the show, and he's coming back hot.
Yeah, dude. He went back to the drawing board.
He came back on fire. My man Darren, good to see him, and good to see everybody in there as always as well. That's the low tier. Push those like and subscribe buttons. Follow our guy at Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets. Eric the Blue getting that studio right. Look at that nice SBC behind the logos there, getting everything set up for us. Best fantasy follow, the best football follow this side of the Mississippi, Mike. Which side of the Mississippi you asked? The whatever side you're on, that's the one. That's where he's the best. Very good. All right. Let's get to that old mid-tier now. And let's start.
5 more.
Let's start 20 minutes from my house and not much longer from yours. Texas State Bobcats, 9-9 in the conference last year, which for Terrence Johnson, that's kind of like there was a time there where there were whispers on campus about whether or not he was the right guy. And this was before last year. Now last year found a way to just to scrape up 9 wins, finish at 500, got through some injuries. I still think that this is sort of where they're going to land again. That 9 to 10 win range, a lot of turnover on this roster, which honestly is probably for the better. I think that that's going to help Coach Johnson really like reestablish what he wants to do here. But what he's going to get back in terms of that talent from last year was Caden Gums, averaged 11 points and 4 dimes for them. The hometown kid right there in San Marcos. And then Mark Drone, who sort of ate into Gums' minutes towards the end of last season. He averaged 11.5 points in his first season with the Bobcats in limited action. He was nicked up for a lot of the year, too. He transferred in from Southwest Mississippi State. The backcourt's set, Mike. The key is going to be the front court. Are they going to be able to get stops down low in the paint? Louisiana Monroe transfer center Micaiah Willis, 10-7, and 36% from beyond the arc. So if you got the guy that can get it done, score the ball, get to your boards, and stretch the floor a little bit for your big man, we'll see if Willis can do that for the Bobcats. They need him to be that defensive presence, right? They need him to be a defensive presence. We'll see if he can get it done. This is a competitive team, Mike. And again, I think you look at Gums' game, and he's averaged 30 minutes a game his first 2 seasons on campus over there. You see the notches. It's up last year in the sophomore season. If he can take another step in his junior year, maybe that ceiling's a little bit higher than we're giving him credit for, but this is going to be a competitive team nonetheless. Mike, the Marshall Thundering Herd right there, 12-6, a dozen wins in the Sun Belt last year. And that was after, obviously, moving on from D'Antoni, Mike's older brother. Yes, that D'Antoni family. They moved on from him and saw immediate dividends from a coach whose name makes me sound like I want Gus to say it on a college basketball bracket. Cornelius Jackson. I want to hear him say it, man. But Coach Jackson, really nice year in year 1 for Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, the question for me is like keeping this momentum going. You lose Mingo, you lose OAK, you lose Dawson. They almost lost guard Jalen Spear. He's going to come back. He averaged 11 points, 2.5 dimes, shot 35% from 3, but he's one of those dipped in the portal, coming back to school. I like the addition of the 7'4" kid from Elon, Matthew Van Komen. 6 points, 8 boards, 72% because he shoots, he shoots from like 2 feet away.
Here's the basket and he goes like this.
Here's the bucket. Exactly. So dominant around the rim, man. The production from these JUCO freshmen, second-year guys that stayed in the program, that's going to really be the key to their ceiling. There's going to be a pretty tough out nightly. You got Georgia State Panthers, man. Jonas Hayes' program on the brink of breaking through in his first 3 years. They were 8-10 last year. See them once again pretty competitive. So we have them in the mid here. We have this wing forward, Jelani Hamilton. He averaged 11 points per game. That was during his freshman year. A lot of buzz around the program because it's a potential, ceiling here for Indiana transfer guard Ja'Kai Newton, former top 100 recruit. Just hasn't been able to kind of stay healthy here. Look out if the light turns green for him. Then you have a stable force at point guard, which you'll always love, Malachi Brown. 8 points, 3.5 dimes. And he shot 37% from 3. So going to be a very competitive Georgia State team. We also have the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, man, 8-10 last year. So right here in the mid, they fired Bob Marlin midseason. Now they're going to turn to, guess what? A former Houston assistant coach here in Quantis White to reshape this program.
So when you say Houston, you think defense. right? And that's what's going to be there on campus for the Raging Cajuns. You're going to have those defensive principles in place, and that really sets the floor there for me. Like, that is what allows them to just, we know that the mid-tier is the absolute floor for them. The ceiling could be higher if Jamiron Keller figures it out, right? Transferring from Oklahoma State, another Big Dipper into the Sun Belt. When you think like breakout candidate, newcomer of the year type stuff, Keller's a name that should be on your short list in the conference here. And then you had Dorian Finister coming in from Sam Houston as well, averaged 8 and 6 for them last year, can get after it on both ends. So is the shooting just gonna be there? That might be tough to fill in those gaps there. Just putting the ball in the bucket, but they're gonna play defense, man, and they're gonna be in games every single night because of it. South Alabama, the Jaguars, the Jaguars, however you want to say it, the Jags. 13-5. They were not Jags. They were not just a guy last year in this conference as they went 13-5. Only a couple of things you can count on yearly in this conference, Mike. And one of those things is that Richie Riley's group's going to win at least 8 conference games.
Yeah, I mean that's just what they do. But a dynamite year last year. I mean, 13-5. They got some key guys to replace, man. Barry Dunning, Corey's out the door too. You get Maxwell Land back from injury. You have this wing John Broom who can shoot it. Nice floor spacer for them. The big thing will be some of these returners that play just from rotation minutes. Like, are they going to be able to kind of step it up here? So for me, I think the losses are a little concerning for a high tier for these guys. But we obviously have these known commodities, right? And we just know they're going to win 8+ games. I kind of like them being in that 9-10 win range for a floor and a ceiling really this year. I feel like that's just where they're going to land.
A whole lot of teams in this tier that we just know the floor, right? And unfortunately, we've seen, like, I think of all of the teams in the mid tier, I feel like Texas State's floor is the lowest.
Yeah, Texas State's up there. I would also, you have to. I mean, I don't want to bang on Marshall or whatever, but that's a lot of talent. Mingo, OAK, we talked about him for we talked about him for years there. Dawson was a nice player too. So I'm with you there, man. It's probably Marshall and Texas State. That may be a swap in that low tier, right? Depending on what some of these low tier teams do.
Yeah, and again, I think that the ceiling though is what makes those two teams intriguing in this tier.
100%. Yeah,
and that's why Texas State and Marshall join Georgia State, Louisiana, and South Alabama in the old mid tier, right here on One and Done Sun Belt Conference preview. We've only got about 10 more of these things to go, man. We've been blazing through these. This is the last one we're going to do this week. We're going to take a few days off here. I'm traveling. Going to come up. Maybe I could. We'll post. Make sure you follow me at Dr. William Cannon, and you can figure out where I am on X over there. Okay, maybe I'll post something. Who knows? But we're going to take a few days off here, and we'll be back
Where's
next
Jay,
week.
like Waldo?
Yeah, exactly. We'll be back next week with 3 new shows. Okay, so today is the last show for this week. I know you're disappointed. It's okay. We love you too. But we'll be back next week after tonight for 3 new shows. Man, we're just barreling towards the season, my man. Like, what are we, 48 days from tip now? Something like
right
that?
around there,
47, 48, right around there. We're less than 7 weeks, my friend. It's right around the corner before you know it. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Join us for the long haul. We talk basketball year round here on One and Done. CVB is what we do. We're talking it year round. So make sure you push all those buttons, because if you don't, how would you not be entertained by Darren in the live chat? I mean, you got to get here and be a part of this. Okay. And even if you're watching later with your whatever cereal you choose to eat in the morning and your black coffee, whatever it is, and you're watching One and Done, leave us a comment. We appreciate you too. Of course we do. We appreciate everybody that checks us out, no matter where that is. At One and Done CBB on all the socials. You know the deal. Push the buttons. Okay, Mike. Can't put it off any longer. It's the high tier.
Let's do it.
The high tier here in the Sun Belt. Sun Belt, Fun Belt. we will call it the Fun Belt. I don't want to overuse it. You know what I mean? Like Fun Belt, Fun Belt. Yeah, I mean, we waited. Talk about it early in the open, and we get to the high tier, and this is where some of the fun, a lot of the fun, is going to happen this year. And with Old Dominion, Mike, 8-10 in the conference last year. And a lot of that, I mean, you got Mike Jones as the coach. Who? Mike Jones. Mike Jones area code, if you are familiar with the Houston rap scene, 281 is what his area code, his phone number starts with, 281. Coach Jones would have loved for his team to be 281st in offensive efficiency, in effective field goal percentage, I should say. They were 361st. They were 361. I think that's
bottom
an area code in Texas too, but it ain't 281. It's 261. They were horrible in effective field goal percentage. So that's why, even though the defensive promise was there, Mike, Coach Mike Jones finished 8-10 last year with the Monarchs. So why all of a sudden, why the high tier?
Yeah, man, I just expect this defensive pedigree to continue. You have Caleb Swanton-Roger, who's coming back, and he's a really nice forward in this conference. He has 5.5 points, 5 boards, almost 2 blocks per game. So you expect him to take a leap forward. And then if they can just be, like you said, incrementally better offensively, that's going to be huge for them. They got a nice boost here, man. Austin Peay transfer guard, LJ Thomas. I believe he started his career at North Carolina State. He was a big dipper. He's averaged 14 points, 4 assists, and now he's going up to Sun Belt here. So I like his addition there to help out the offense. You got Northeastern sharpshooting forward. You got Jared Turner, nearly double figures, 8 points per game, shot 38% from 3. These guys are going to fit nicely. You have Robert Davis, who is coming back. So look, this guy's a volume scorer. I think it's going to be a lot more efficient. I mean, he still shot 33% from 3, but he took 10 attempts a game. But now you're going to put LJ Thomas around him, Jared Turner to help stretch the floor. I think he's going to get easier looks, man. He averaged 16 points per game, but I don't think he's going to have to be this volume guy. They're going to be able to stretch the defense. And you can't forget, they bring in Georgetown transfer for Drew McKenna. He was a highly touted recruit. This is a really nice squad, man. Really nice squad for Old Dominion. You got the Troy Trojans here. 3 straight 21 seasons. Coach Scott Cross, man, finally got this team into the tournament with one of those 21 seasons. 23 wins last year overall, 13-5 in the conference. And you just know tough defensive principles. It's tough to knock them back a few games, but I think they're still going to be in this high tier, but it's tough. They lost a lot of talent. So they still have the stretch forward, Thomas Dowd. He's going to be a really good player. Last year, almost double figures, 7 rebounds a game. He's going to have to take on some big-time usage here. And you have a bunch of guys that are just going to be thrust into bigger roles. Cooper Campbell, he can really shoot it. Victor Valdez, a really good defensive player. But really what's keeping him in here, man, is the pedigree of Coach Cross. And you just expect these guys to play hard, play good defense, and really progress as players. And then, James Madison here, 13-5 as well. They were part of that 4-way regular season tie. And you have Preston Spradlin following up a terrific run by Mark Byington, who's doing nice things at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
He racked up 20 wins in year 1, Jay.
Now, when you have a coaching change in a conference like this, after Byington, that was an impressive little stretch that he had there at James Madison. And now Spradlin comes in, and year 2, now the locker room looks a lot different with Eddie Ricks being the only contributor really coming back from last year's squad. Yeah. It is what it is, right? But the reason that they're in the high tier is the talent coming in from the portal is a choice. Georgia Southern guard Bradley Douglas, 12.5 points, 2.3 dimes, stays in the conference and will take over the point guard position. I love it when, we hardly used to see, you didn't used to see the in-conference transfers, right? And now these players have the ability to find a spot that's better for them personally with the same familiarity of the conference that they've been playing in. That's just like that's a cheat code for some of these guys.
Yeah, seriously.
If Bradley Davis can unlock that, they just need him to be they don't need him to be a all-American. They need him to just be really good. And I think he'll be able to do that, taking over at point guard here. Justin McBride transferring in the forward from Nevada. This is a junior that's going to probably feast a little bit. 8 points and 4 boards for Nevada last year. It's those numbers. Those are rookie numbers. Those are going to go up. All right, they're going to bump those up. They're going to boost them. This is an older squad too. Mike Spradlin's offense is going to carry him most nights. So, I couldn't argue to not have them in the high tier. Honestly, like with even as much of a turnover that they had on the roster. This is the kind of talent and this is the kind of coaching that can get it done no matter what. And then again, I talked about Arkansas State, sort of a team that would have been fun to watch. And I don't know if they would have gotten the same seed or not. I mean, maybe they would have, maybe they wouldn't have, but I would have rather saw Arkansas State in that tournament. I know somebody in the comments earlier in the live chat said something about Arkansas State and rooting for them. Oh yeah, it was because the Monarchs were going to be good. But yeah, man, this is a team that is a no doubter for me up in this high tier, and it wouldn't surprise me again to see them at the end of the regular season, tied or not, sitting at the top of the conference.
Yeah, and they're going through a coaching change. Brian Hodgson took the South Florida opening this offseason, but they're bringing in Alabama assistant Ryan Pannone, and I don't expect any fall off. I expect them to be right here at this 13-14 win type season again, man. Like, he's got a brand new roster, but look at the talent on the roster, man. You got Ole Miss transfer guard TJ Caldwell. He sat out last year, but he has experience in the SEC and has been productive in the SEC. I like Florida State transferring Chandler Jackson. Look, he's out of the mess, right? Like that whole thing at Florida State, ton of athleticism. SFA wing, Matt Heyman, like averaged 14 points per game, shot 37% from three. So he's going to be able to stretch the floor. Also averaged, 3 dimes. So it could be a secondary facilitator. They have a lot of size on this roster, man, when you look at it. So they're going to be a factor on the glass and defensively every single night. So yeah, a lot to like here, even though there's a lot of turnover and a new coach, man. Like, they're going to be up here again, and I'm with Mason, man. Like, I know you're going to ask me, Jay. I know you're going to ask me.
And might as well just say it.
I'm going to go with the known quality. I'm going to go with the thing that just makes the most sense, right? And I feel like that is going to be Arkansas State. I feel like there's the question marks with James Madison and Troy. If I had to pick, honestly, like Old Dominion looks kind of salty, man. We'll see.
Well,
Arkansas State, I feel like it's gonna be pretty good.
Don't spoil my pick here, my friends, because there's no way they're gonna finish 361st in effective field goal percentage again.
It's a good roster they got.
I mean, like this is a nice team, and that's gonna be one that I'm gonna ride along with the Monarchs of Old Dominion, who joined Mike's pick, Arkansas State, and then James Madison and Troy in the high tier for the Sun Belt. In the old mid tier, South Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia State, Marshall, and Texas State. Eat 'em up, cats. Down in the low tier, Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern, Southern Miss, and Louisiana Monroe. Let's hop in the live chat before we get out of here. I did not boo Arch this weekend. A lot of people did, though, Darren. Phil, hey, Mr. Donahue, from beyond wherever you're watching us from, you did stay up late for the ASUN, and we appreciate that. We appreciate everybody that hangs out with us, no matter how you watch us, no matter when you watch us, whether you're watching us a week later, if you're watching us live, if you're putting us on your projector on your big wall on your house, like I know some of you do. Whatever it is that you got to do, man, we appreciate the way that all of you interact with us. Just like Darren letting us know he's not going to play Jaden Epps in DFS this upcoming season. I'm going to smash him the first time he's on the slate. I guarantee you.
100%.
MC Holland 34 Invitational over on DraftKings. We like to have some fun here with the breadheads here on one end done. We'll be doing DFS during the season, but we've got 10 more conferences to go before we get the tip off. We'll be previewing every single conference across the land. This is number 21. This is number 21, conference number 21 that we've previewed. We're taking a 5-day break, 6-day break,
maybe.
Whatever it is.
I don't know, something like that.
2021. We're over.
We're close.
Okay, we're 20. Let's say we're 20 adjacent.
Yes.
Okay, we're 20 adjacent. So hey, it is getting closer, Snake Size. We're getting closer to tip off. Make sure you follow us at One and Done CVB on all the socials if you haven't already. Mainly over there on X. That's the one to follow. Hit those buttons. For sure. Follow at Fantasy Nav. Follow at Nape C Hustle. and follow this man on the screen with me on your viewing device, El Capitan himself. He's the captain of the one and done ship at MC Holland 34 over there on X. We got the MVC, the American, and the WCC next week, Mike, and then we got some big boys.
Oh yeah.
On the way.
Oh yeah. So the opinions will be flowing for those.
They will be. They're going to be flowing like the waters of Lake never mind. Like flowing like the salmon of the rivers of, I forgot what that line is. Anyways, there we go. Capistrano. Thanks for saving me, Mike. As always, good to see everybody in the live chat. We appreciate all of you. Push all those buttons if you haven't already. We're going to see you next week. But until then, my name is JAYHEINRICH. Come again. Peace.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drrodo.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.